Welcome, Diane. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be a part of the Connections experiment. I'm a huge fan.
No, we love having you. Diane came and joined us in May when we did the very first experiment, and she was so much fun. She's always fun to talk to. She has got an incredible wealth of knowledge in her mind, and she's so great at sharing it. That's what I love about Diane. Like every class I've ever attended of hers, she's just so good at, I feel like, dumbing it down for me, making it so that I can understand it. And I love that. You have a gift for that for sure. So
thank you
for coming. So with Diane coming today, the teaser would be her company is, what is your company?
It's called Your DNA Guide.
Your DNA Guide, and that is the URL right there. So we are going to do a DNA month, and we are so excited because her team, I don't even want to take credit because they did all the work, but we've just kind of done a little like side stuff, but they put together the most incredible 21-day plan. And I was reading through it the other day and I was just like, this is so cool. I'm so excited. So if you haven't taken your DNA test yet, please go do it. Make sure you get those results back. Like, do it as fast as possible. If you have a DNA test sitting at your house, it's time to send it in, because I know some of my family's guilty of that. So go send it in, and you are going to have it 21 days that are going to just guide you through some of these incredible things. Some of the steps that I was reading, it was like, oh my gosh, that never would have even occurred to me to consider looking at like that. So it is going to be a really, really great resource to you guys. So Diane, tell us let's see. Why do you think people should consider participating? What would be your why of like, go ahead, spend the money, grab a DNA test, send it in? What would be your recommendation? Like, yeah, does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, so totally. So as you said, we had to announce this a little bit early because you do have to have like some prep work before you can really, really dive into this experiment that we're planning in September. But there are some guidelines or some best practices before you run out and get your DNA tested. So we have actually a blog post on our website that outlines kind of what DNA test should I take. And so you can go read that if you're kind of unfamiliar with maybe what you want to do. But the number one thing I want to say is that the reason that we take DNA tests, I think, is twofold. First of all, DNA is a record and it is a document of yourself, and it is something that we can preserve for the future, for posterity. And it's something that's kind of a fun way to approach family history. And I have found, as I've taught about DNA, that more people are interested in DNA than are interested in family history. And so what I like to call it is like DNA is kind of like the gateway drug. That's what I call it. And it like is enticing and it sounds fun and kind of flashy. And so more people take it, but then they find themselves drawn to the results and they wonder, well, why do I have this Italian? Do I have an Italian ancestor? And that's what really brings them into genealogy as a community or as a hobby. And so I think it serves that wonderful purpose of breaking down this barrier that people have, like, oh, family history is so boring, or I'm not interested in that, when truly all of us are interested in family history. We just have to find the right carrot, the right thing that like gets us in the door. And for so many people, I think that's what DNA is.
I love that, because I feel like this whole project is kind of focused on helping people come in that wouldn't otherwise. And you're right, gateway drug is perfect, because it really is like you get going on it and you're like, oh, cousins, oh, and you just start poking around and have so much fun. And I am telling you guys, what Diane and her team have put together for this 21 days, it's going to be worse of a drug, because you're going to be like, oh, that had never occurred to me, and I'm going to do that. And that's going to be so cool. So I think it's going to be a really incredible journey, and I'm really excited for everyone to be able to do that. So my other question for you is, well, I want to give a teaser here that anyone who joins us, make sure you mark your calendars. And I actually don't have the date yet, but Diane will advertise, but Diane's going to join us back again, so that as you've worked through this, if you have questions, come and join us when we interview her later, and she'll answer some of your questions for you and help clarify some of those things. So this is, having Diane as a resource is just so exciting and wonderful for us as a community. And we're so grateful that you're willing to come. So
thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, okay. Last question. I know this is short, but we'll just keep it that way. What got you so excited to do this? Like what was your inspiration for becoming the teacher and creating the incredible resources that you have, like what inspired all of that? What's the core inspiration?
I love to see those light bulb moments. That moment, so many people have a barrier about science and they think, I'm not a science person. I'm never going to understand this. I don't like it. I'm not going to like it. And I love that moment where I change their mind, where that first, like, I understood that. And that's interesting. And that was science. And I liked it. And I love that ability that someone has to come into this thinking that they'll never get it and leave knowing that they can. And what I love most about the 21-day experiment we put together is it's so bite-sized.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to be overwhelmed by all the things. You can just do really simple, straightforward things that don't take a ton of time. Mm-hmm. And yet over time, you'll see your knowledge and your confidence increasing. And that's what this is all about.
So cool. I love that. That was a perfect sell.